Welcome to Lesson 10D, Fanno flow example problem. In this lesson, I'll first do a simple Fanno flow example. Then I'll discuss the step-by-step procedure for solving general Fanno flow problems. And then I'll do a more involved example problem. Here's a very quick review. Our control volume goes from 1 to 2 in a duct or pipe with friction on the walls. We had derived a final workhorse Fanno flow equation, which is valid for any Mach number, subsonic or supersonic, in terms of the critical property L star. Here's the first example. At a given Mach number, we enter the duct with length L and hydraulic diameter given as 0.25 meters. In this case, F is given, but in the next example, we'll have to calculate it. We want to estimate the maximum possible duct length that will not affect the inlet conditions. Here are our assumptions and approximations, which are consistent with what we've done previously in our analysis. So the first thing I do is take this workhorse equation and apply it at state 1. And note that L max, by definition, is equal to L star 1 when we start at state 1, which is what we're doing. So plugging in the given Mach number at 1, and for air we know gamma, I get 5.2993 for FL star 1 over DH. So for this choked condition, we can write instead that FL max over DH equal 5.2993, from which we solve for L max, 5.2993 DH over F. DH was given up here, and as I've said, F is also given in this problem. We get that L max is 57.6 meters. This is the length of the duct at which this flow will choke.
What happens if you make L bigger than that?
Well, Arnold, just as we discussed with Rayleigh flow, the upstream conditions at 1 would have to change. Specifically, the flow would have to slow down at 1 since the duct is too long, and that would lead to a new L max. In other words, the flow would adjust itself so that the flow is choked at the exit with some larger L.
Okay, sir. I'll be back if I have any more questions.
Now let's discuss the procedure to solve general unchoked Fanno flow problems. And as usual, we limit our discussion to an ideal gas. In this problem, we're given hydraulic diameter, roughness epsilon, pipe length L, which is the actual length of the pipe from 1 to 2. Plus we know appropriate conditions at state 1, P1, T1, and either M1 or V1. And we'll assume that L is less than L star 1, so this is not choked here. But as we've discussed, we imagine an extension of the duct from 2 to some new total length L star 1 that gives us choked conditions at this imaginary exit. We want to calculate flow properties at this actual duct exit location 2. Here's the procedure. At known value of temperature 1, we calculate the viscosity, mu. You can look this up in tables, or for air I advise you to use the Sutherland equation, which is shown here with these constants. This is a very good equation for getting mu for air at a known temperature. Once we have mu, we can calculate the Reynolds number. I'll call it RE1, which is rho 1 V1 dH over mu. And I'll put subscripts 1 on mu here and here, since mu changes with temperature, and we know that temperature changes down the duct. We also need to calculate the relative roughness, epsilon over dH. From Reynolds number and non-dimensional roughness, we can calculate F. Again, I'll call it F1, but we'll assume that this F is constant. I'll revisit this assumption later. We'll do this from the Churchill equation, as discussed in a previous lesson. Step 2, we'll use our workhorse equation at state 1 to calculate FL star over DH at 1, where I put the subscript here instead of having L star 1. In other words, we're evaluating this grouping of properties at state 1. And I'll mention that this is an explicit calculation. It's explicit because our workhorse equation gives this value as a function of M1 and gamma only. Step 3 is the key step where we calculate FL star over DH at the duct exit 2, and we set that equal to FL star over DH1 minus FL over DH. We know that since this distance is L star 2, so L star 1 minus L star 2 is L. So this equation is valid for a constant F. As I said, this is our key equation for solving Fanno flow problems. Well, we will have calculated this in step 2, and FL and DH are all known. Therefore, we can get a value for this. Now let's use our workhorse equation again to calculate M2, the Mach number at state 2, the actual exit of the pipe. That equation is FL star over DH2 is a function of gamma and M2, but this grouping of terms is known from step 3, and in this case we must solve for Mach number 2 implicitly, and I like to say any way you can, Newton's method, using software, Excel's what-if analysis, etc. I generally prefer the false position method. By the way, you should see a pattern here. In most of these problems, we've had to solve equations implicitly. Once we have M2, step 5 is to calculate T2, knowing that T0 is a constant for Fanno flow. Our energy equation was T01 equal T02. I'll do this with clever use of ratios. T2 is T2 over T0 times T0 over T1 times T1. And even though this flow is not isentropic, state 2 is just a state, as is state 1. So we can use our old friends from much earlier in the semester. 1 plus gamma minus 1 over 2 m2 squared to the negative 1 is T2 over T0, and 1 plus gamma minus 1 over 2 m1 squared for T0 over T1, and multiply by T1. This gives us T2. Step 6 is to calculate other properties at the duct exit 2 as needed. And this will be possible now that we know both T2 and M2. So for example, A2 is square root of gamma R T2, V2 is A2 times M2, rho 2 V2 equal rho 1 V1, so rho 2 is rho 1 V1 over V2. From the ideal gas law, P2 is rho 2 R T2, etc. If we need stagnation properties at state 2, for example P02, we can write P02 over P2 times P2. And again, since 2 is a state, we can use our old isentropic equations, even though this flow is not isentropic. Another way to think about it is that this equation for P0 over P2 is being applied at a point or a state 2, and thus we have an expression for P02. And we can get other properties as needed. Or I'll give you an alternative way to calculate the properties at 2. We can use critical ratios. For example, T over T star is equal to T over T0, T0 over T star. We know T over T0, and T0 over T star is 1 plus gamma minus 1 over 2 times 1 squared, since m equal 1 at critical conditions. And a little bit of algebra gives us T over T star equal gamma plus 1 over 2 plus gamma minus 1 m squared. And this holds at any location along the pipe or duct. So what we can do is first apply this at state 1 to get T star, and then apply this equation again at 2, now that we know T star, to get T2. And similarly, we can get expressions for rho over rho star, and P over P star, and P0 over P star, etc. These critical ratios for Fanno flow are shown on our equation sheet, which you can download. Here's a step-by-step summary of the procedure we just talked about, with steps 1 through 6, along with their equations. And now I'll do my second example, a more general Fanno flow problem. We have air entering a pipe of known diameter and length, with temperature, pressure, and speed known at 1. We also know the average roughness height along the wall. The pipe is well insulated, from which we get our adiabatic approximation. And here we want to estimate temperature, pressure, velocity, which I really should call speed, since we know its direction to the right, and Mach number at this location too. Again, L is the actual length of the pipe. So this is exactly the kind of problem for which I just gave the procedure, and we have the same assumptions and approximations. So let's follow the above step-by-step procedure to solve for these properties at 2. First, we need to calculate Reynolds number. So from the Sutherland equation, I calculate viscosity, mu, at state 1 at the given value of T1, from which RE1, the Reynolds number, is ρ1 V1 dH over mu1, and in this problem, since the pipe is round, dH is just the diameter of the pipe, and we get ρ1 from the ideal gas equation. Thus we can calculate the Reynolds number. I get 289,660, keeping some extra significant digits there. With this, and calculating epsilon over dH, I use Churchill to get F1. I get F1 equal 0.02296. Step 2 is to calculate FL star over dH at 1 from this equation, where I first have to calculate Mach number 1, which is V1 over A1, and I get 0.200. And plugging that in, I get FL star over DH1 equal 14.550. And I note that this is non-dimensional. There are no units here. Now we use our key equation in step 3, assuming that F is constant. I use the value we just calculated, and I can also calculate this from the known actual pipe length, which turns out to be 12.398. So FL star over DH based on 2, the actual duct exit, is 2.151. Well, now that I know that, I can calculate M2 from our workhorse equation again, and remember that we do this implicitly, since you can't solve analytically for M2 from this equation. We get M2 is 0.4090. We verify that with the compressible aerodynamics calculator. For Fanno flow, gamma is 1.4, and instead of Mach number, we'll plug in the subsonic value of FL star over DH, remembering that this factor of 4 doesn't affect us here. I'll enter 2.151 and calculate, and my Mach number 2 then is 0.4090, which agrees with what I calculated by hand using the false position method. So this is verified by the CAC. Step 5 is to calculate T2, and I had written this out before, the clever use of ratios. I get T2 equal 438.9 K. And then step 6 is to calculate any other desired properties. First I calculate A2, speed of sound at state 2, from which I can get V2, the speed, at state 2, the pipe exit. I get 171.8 meters per second. From conservation of mass, ρ2 is ρ1 V1 over V2. Then I can get P2 from the ideal gas law. I get 106.2 kPa. I also verified these values using the critical ratios. T1 over T star turns out to be 1.1905. T2 over T star is 1.1611. And then T2 is T2 over T star over T1, T1, and knowing this from here and this from the reciprocal of this, and T1 being given, I get 438.9 K, which makes me happy because it agrees with the previous value that I calculated here. My final answers to 3 digits are T2 equal 439 K, P2 equal 106 kPa, V2 equal 172 meters per second, and M2 equals 0.409. Notice that T went down, pressure went down, speed went up, and Mach number went up. These are all consistent with our Fanno curve on the subsonic branch. And as I've said many times, we're able to use the critical conditions to solve problems, even though in this case, we never actually reach critical conditions. One final refinement, if you want to do this for more accuracy, which I'll call step 7, is that T2, P2, etc. are not equal to T1, P1, etc. V, mu, and rho change from 1 to 2, and because of this mu changing, at T2 we calculate mu2 using Sutherland, from which we can get a new Reynolds number at 2, and then since the roughness hasn't changed, we use Churchill again to get F2. We can then repeat our analysis with F equal F1 plus F2 over 2, and average F down the pipe. This will be a little more accurate, but here for our example, we had F1 equal 0.02296, and it turns out that F2 is 0.02293, and you see that these are very close. So this would improve our results, but not by very much. So I'll call this optional. The reason these are so close is that we are in the fully rough zone of the Moody chart, where F becomes independent of Reynolds number and depends only on roughness, as we've discussed previously. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos.